Recording in progress.
So your second camera is still on.
Thank you, ma'am. Here we go. Okay, welcome everybody. We'll be getting started very shortly. Just letting everyone in. Oh. I just have to reconnect my TV. There we go. That's all good. Okay, we're good to go. Oh. Sit up. Jogging. To go on. Raise your right hand and recite the tenets. Job, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit. And the student note. So, I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. Respect the instructor and seniors. I shall never misuse Taekwondo. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. I shall build a more peaceful world. Motto. Emily, welcome back. Be careful tonight. Okay, don't overdo that knee, particularly when we start doing the joint rotations at the start. Don't do big bounces and stuff. And when we're doing kicking. So just be careful. And if it feels a little bit tender, just be careful with it. Okay, let's get started, guys. Pre-grading will be next week. So next week, I'll be taking a strong look at those of you to see who's ready for the next grading. And the grading will be a couple of weeks later. That'll apply mainly to our yellow belts and above, for whom they weren't out. We didn't do the grading at the end of last term. Okay, rotating wrists. Fantastic to have everybody here. Change direction. It comes up to 5 o'clock to come and teach classes, and I come up and I'm like, oh, another Zoom class, and then I log on, and you guys are all here, and oh, the excitement comes back. It's so cool having a group of you here. Thank you. Elbows. It's not as cool as being in the dojang, but I hope you're getting something out of it. You feel like you're improving. Change direction. Arms back. And forwards. Torso. Left ankle. Change direction. Change foot. Change direction. Elijah, do you have that space all to yourself today? Is Madeline studying? Nice.
Yes.
We'll make the most of that today, eh? Awesome. Hands on knees. Down 1, 2, and back. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Emily, I trust you're being very careful. Good, you're not doing it. That's excellent.
Way down.
And legs outwards. In the habit of keeping your hands up when you do this, you just want to make this position a habit. Hips. Change direction. As hopefully you know, over the last 3 sessions, I've gone into a lot of detail about the first 3 elements of self-defense, the first 3 stages, and relax. We've gone through the avoid stage, we've gone through the de-escalation stage, and last time we went through the response stage. Today we're going through the recovery stage. So that'll be the technical area that we work on. For those of you who have the book, of course, you'll be able to read that. For those of you who don't have the book, I am doing some deliveries tomorrow, so get on to me tonight if you want one, and make sure by email you also confirm your address so that I know I'm delivering it to the right place. I've got a couple of copies left, but otherwise you'll be able to watch the segments of this where I've talked through it so you can see through that content. I also said today I would work a bit more detail through the green belt syllabus, through the defenses for the green belt. I might have to pull one of my children in to pretend to be a big meanie so that I can show you the techniques a little bit, but we'll see how we go for that. First up, let's get a little bit warm, do some basic and stuff. As I said, we're going to do a little bit of work on sparring drills and things for the grading, so we'll do some work on those now. Start with 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, hand up. It's a nice way to get warmed up. From here, if I come towards you, I want you to shift backwards. Remember, if you go backwards, your back foot moves first, your front foot follows. When you go forward, your front foot moves, then your back foot follows. So if I come towards you, go backwards. If I go backwards, chase me. When you step left and right, stepping right, move the right foot first. Stepping left, move the left foot first. Nice and simple. Follow me. So go the same direction as me. Ved, make sure you stay half facing. So one of the key things when you're free sparring is you don't want to be like this facing your partner, your opponent. This is a very big target that is easy to hit. You want to be a small target. So make sure you're more side on to keep that target small. Maintain small target. When you switch stance, fast, change with your feet. Don't jump too high because it's too slow. And a really good sparrer will smack you while you're in the air. So from here, you go backwards, come forwards, follow me, switch, follow me, backwards, forwards, switch. Cool. Go, keep going. Keep that backhand by your brain. Keep that guard up. You don't want anyone scoring a lazy 3 points against you. And I've told the story a number of times of how I saw one of the Kiwi girls at the World Championships get a kick to the head because she had her hand down. The opponent just picked her leg up, smacked up, 3 points. Good, okay. Now, you see my drop my hands? Shift in 2 punches and straight back. If my hands come down, shift in 2 punches and back. If I open my ribs, I want to see that front leg side kick and down. So shift in with your front leg side kick. So this happens, in with the side kick. If I launch in with my punches, then I want you to do fade away side kick, and then 2 punches back to your spot. Okay, everyone got those? My hands down, you shift in 2 punches. My hands open, front leg side kick. I launch in with punches. You fade away with your side kick and follow up with 2 punches. Ready? Still doing the footwork mirroring as well. Yeah, quickly. Good. Yeah, good, nice. Cool, okay. Next one, if I add my front leg yop chagi, I want you to block it with your front hand, shift off to the side, reverse punch to the head. So my side kick comes in, you go block, step, punch. Okay, ready. Okay, good. Now, one thing I'm going to add, if I come in with my rear leg dolio chagi, if I bring my rear leg dolio chagi, I want you to step away from my dolio chagi and do your reverse hooking kick. So my dolio chagi comes here, you step away, reverse hooking kick, come back. Okay, ready?
I have my ankle.
And come on. Okay, good work, guys. Grab a drink.
Sir, with that reverse turning kick, when you step away, is it okay that you're stepping away with your back to the opponent? I guess that's the point.
You're actually not. So it's the stepping
So
away.
I'm doing it wrong then.
So my opponent's here, okay, coming in this line this way. I'm just going to step slightly off the line this way and then bring my leg up for the reverse hooking kick. So if the turning kick's coming in, or a side kick or something coming in, or a punch is coming in, they're coming in down this line or around this way, I'm just going to step slightly off and then throw my reverse hooking kick. So I can see what you're saying, that I might have my back here with my opponent here. I don't want to turn quite so far. It's kind of a bit of an angle that I'm turning here. So my opponent might be here, but I haven't really turned my back. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool.
Sir,
Yes.
are we in the same side stances when we're doing this?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
When we do the reverse hooking kick, are we in the same side stance?
Well, it doesn't actually matter too much because you're generally going to be kicking towards the head. Okay, so open side, closed side, both work fairly well. Good questions. Okay. Just while you're warm, I'm going to work through, I want you to sit down and just stretch off while I talk through this recover session. And then I want you to get the partner that you've arranged to walk through your step sparring. Yeah, please. Okay, so first thing, as I say, walk through the recover section. We've talked in the last few sessions through avoid, de-escalate, and respond. Last session, we talked through response. So just stretch off, as I say, your way through a stretching process. The 5 elements that we looked at here were understanding New Zealand law, how that can work for you. General principles of self-defense. So there's 11 principles. How your body reacts to stress, what happens to your body physically under adrenaline. The attacking tools we commonly use, and the vital spots we attack. So they were the areas that we covered under the respond section. Now the recover stage is really important. This is if you go into I haven't shared my screen, have I? That'll make more sense to you. There we go, there's my screen. Okay, so working through the de-escalate section, the 5 sections here, understanding New Zealand law, the general principles to apply, there's 11 of those, in 3 groups, how your body works under stress, the attacking tools we use, and the vital spots we attack. So we went through all of these pages last session. So you read through the book and you can watch that video again. Now the recover stage, 6 areas, how to disengage from the physical situation is a key one. And then these first 2 we practice in class. The medical checking is the second one. The last 4 we don't practice as much in class, and that's why I'm going to talk about them a little bit more today. The first one is responding to the police. If you do find yourself in a physical altercation, just change your stretch, then chances are you might end up getting arrested. So expecting that will mean that you won't get so much surprise and you can deal with that situation. You may even end up going to court. And so a little bit about how that works is very important. 5 and 6 are really important. If you see that person again with their friends, could there be some sort of retaliation? This is one of many reasons why you want to avoid going physical as much as possible. It's a last resort thing. And then the last one is around moving on. If you get into a high violence situation, it will affect you psychologically. So getting help is very important. That first point about disengaging, this is one that we practice. Generally, you want to get to a stage in a B-level altercation where your opponent is on the ground and you disengage, pushing away from the head. So if you can avoid going past their arms or their legs where they can fling out and hit you, you avoid that. But if, of course, you've got your back against the wall, then you can't get around it. But practicing that disengage process is really important. Stepping back, looking for exits, looking for other risks, other opponents that could be coming, looking for weapons that could be used against you. Those sorts of things are really important. Getting out to code orange and code green as quickly as you can. And if necessary, call the police, call an ambulance, get help. The medical procedure one, again, we've practiced this in class. You've disengaged from the physical situation. You've looked for your exits and so forth. You pat yourself down. After patting a couple of areas on your body, just like you do in first aid, when you're patting somebody down, you pat, 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 check, pat, 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 check. Because if under adrenaline, you probably won't feel it if you've been stabbed, if you're bleeding. So you have to get into the habit in your B grade training in class, disengage, pat yourself down. If you see blood on your hands, it could be yours. The next one is the police response. As I say, the safest thing is just to expect to be arrested. That way, if you are prepared for it, you're not going to act inappropriately. You'll be under stress. Things might come out of your mouth that you regret later. So keep silent. Don't resist them. That's the worst thing you can do. Say, yes, officer, I'll come with you, is no problem. Be polite, do exactly what you're told. You have to give them your name and address under law, but you don't have to say anything else. And you don't want to say anything else until you've had an opportunity to speak to a lawyer. That will give you time to calm down. and to think about what happened rather than speaking under adrenaline about the first thing that comes into your mind. At the first opportunity, in fact, even if you're with the police, ask for a pen and pad so you can write notes about everything that you remember that happened, because you will forget quite quickly what happened. I've been in a situation that wasn't, in my case, a self-defense situation. It was actually something that happened to somebody in a hotel that was next to where I was living. And that was my mother, my wife, I think my grandmother was there as well. And we saved somebody that had been abducted. And I said to my family, first thing you do, write everything down. And even a minute or so after this had happened, we were all trying to think, what happened first? Was it the car that came first, or was it the crashing sound that we heard? So write things down as quickly as you can. In court, if you need them, you can say, I made some notes soon thereafter. Can I refer to those notes, please? And you will generally be allowed to do so. That's what the police do as a standard action. They ask to refer to their notebook that they wrote notes at the time. They may need, the police will need a description of the attacker, so try and write down as much as you can remember from that. The gender, the age, the race, the body type, the height, the hair color, the cut of the hair, what clothing they were wearing, their eye color, as much as you can remember. So we want to think about these things now and practice doing these things. The next thing is, if you are get taken to court, you want to bring a support person. This is going to be an emotional situation. Now, these are worst case scenarios, right? But we do want to prepare for the worst case scenarios in case they happen. Your lawyer will do some preparation for you. You be prepared that you'll probably end up on the stand. So your detailed notes will be a very, very valuable resource at that point. The next point is about whether or not, if you see those people again and they recognize you, could there be some sort of retaliation happen? So again, there are so many good reasons to avoid getting into a physical confrontation if you can. And one of them is this risk of retaliation. Okay, so we want to try and avoid that. And then the last thing is get some help. You'll be sleepless that night. You still have adrenaline pumping through your body, but you'll probably find that you're replaying the situation in your mind for weeks and weeks afterwards. There are a lot of places that you can call, Lifeline, rape prevention, family violence information. There's a whole lot of places that you're able to call. So, in fact, I just noticed that the family violence information is listed there twice. Victim support, women's refuge for ladies. So there's a lot of places you can look at. So they're now that's quite scary, confronting, listening to that kind of information. It is really important to read and have an understanding of that stuff so that if it ever does happen, you know how to react. So practice getting through that. Now, okay, we're going to get physical again. Hopefully you've got access to a partner. My daughter's just saying, oh no, because she realizes she's my partner. We're going to work through the green belt stuff today. We're going to go initially gently. The 6 grabs for green belt are all grabs to the front of the body, whether it's a lapel grab. I'll show you these in a moment. Two-handed lapel grab being pushed or two-handed lapel grab being pulled. Grab to the shoulders or throat. These are all quite similar. Grabbing the hair or a bear hug, either with your hands trapped or your hands free. So I'll show you those attacks first with my very aggressive 10-year-old. Okay, so first thing, the grabs. This is a lapel grab, okay, with one hand. Generally with a lapel grab, you have to be worried about what's happening next. Is it a punch with the other hand? What could happen? Is it a kick? Or a headbutt? Anything can happen from here. They can even punch with the hand they've grabbed you with. Okay, so there's lots of bad stuff that can happen from this situation. This is number 1. Number 2 is the same thing with 2 hands. Now the headbutt and the knee are going to be most common, or they might try and throw you onto the ground. From here, they'll either be pulling you in to get in your face and be mean, or they might be trying to push you backwards. Okay, so they're 2 different ones. They might also, with 1 or 2 hands, grab you the shoulder or the throat. The throat is the most uncomfortable of these. It's not the hardest. It's actually easier than some of the other ones, but it's the most uncomfortable. And then the last 2 are the bear hug, either with your hands trapped or a bear hug with your hands caught. Now remember the respond principles we worked through last session. The last one, of course, is a grab to the hair. Might be the hair on top. If you've got a ponytail, it might be grabbing this way. If you haven't got hair, it might, or even if you have got hair, it might be grabbing your ear. This as well. Now, this is generally an intimidation technique, as we've done in class. People don't grab you by the hair of the ear like this. Hello. It tends to be something where they try and pull you down onto an angle and get in your face and be intimidating. Okay, that tends to be what they're after. So, they're the 6 techniques. We're going to quickly work through the defenses at A level for those 6 techniques, and then I'll give you some of the ideas about B level. I'll do it with my very aggressive 10-year-old here, so I'm going to be very careful. And with those of you who are working with a non-taekwondo partner, I want you to work very carefully as well so that your partner gets an understanding of what this is like before we start smacking each other around. Okay, so away we go. The first one is the one-handed lapel grab. Coming nice and close, and my aggressive daughter's going to grab me. I'll be very gentle, love. Okay, from here, the first thing that I'm going to do from this position is step back and get my hands up if they're not already. Now, my front hand is quite close to the hand that she's grabbed me with, but that way if she punches with the other hand, my hand is here to flinch and try and block it. I've also stepped back into my half-facing position so my targets are smaller. Okay, so I've got this trap. That's my first thing. Now, from here, if I put my other hand up and drive it on top of her biceps, notice I'm taking a step back when I do this. I'm going to step into an L stance or a fixed stance and drive down on the biceps, starting with my hand forward and then twisting it towards me. Notice how off balance my partner gets. This is the first thing. Then from here, I'm going to push on her face. Back off, leave me alone. That's it. Okay? Now, a couple of things for you here. When I do this movement, don't go over the top of the arm with your elbow. It is your forearm that drives down the biceps. Your forearm, so it's nice and flat to the ground. 1. And then from here, 2. Back off, leave me alone. Now, if it's a B level situation, then that push to the face becomes a lot faster and harder. From here, 1, 2, and then smash as hard as you can, and then you follow up as you need to follow up. Okay, so that's number 1. That's the one-handed lapel grab. The two-handed lapel grab's actually very similar. What's very important here is when your partner grabs you, they grab you with a little bit of realism. So we don't grab like this and go, hello, okay? You actually grab them and pull them in for the first one. Get them really close to you. Okay, this is an aggressive one. So you're pulling in. Here, she's right in my face here. First thing I need to do is try and get my balance. I've got to worry about the knee, and most importantly, I have to worry about the headbutt. So I want to drop my chin down so that if the headbutt comes in, I take it on my forehead, not on my face. Again, my hands come up and I trap these hands with one hand. One hand comes over and traps these hands. It's harder. The other thing that I'm going to do straight away before she can knee me, the sneaky little trollop, is to here, push back on the face. Back off, leave me alone. And similarly, for a B level attack, you push faster and harder. Here, boom, smash as hard as you can. After that smash, we do the same thing as we did the first time. We drive down on that biceps, and then we can twist the wrist if we want to, do a little kick below the belt, whatever you need to do to finish off. Okay, but the starting point, trap, push on the face, drive down on those arms. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is where they're pushing us backwards. It's very similar, but the first thing that I have to do is get control of my movement. So I'm going to take a big step back and ground myself in a stance. Okay, if they're driving me backwards quickly, little steps like this, I'm just going to get pushed backward into a wall, or they're going to trip me over or something. So as they're pushing me backwards, I take a big step and get my hands up and trap. Then I've got the same thing I had before, pushing on the face, dropping down the arm if I need to. Okay, now, one little point I've noticed from a couple of you here, Always try to keep your torso upright. Okay, watch for a moment. I saw a couple of you doing this. Now I'm off balance. I'm in a bad position. Use my stance and my hips to drop down this way, dropping into a strong stance with my torso up. That gives me balance. As much as possible, I want my torso up and drop down with my stance. Okay? That's number 3. So again, step back and trap, get a good stance. Drop down on those arms and then push away on the head or hit a little bit harder. It's number 3. Okay, cool. Now, number 4. The shoulder grabs and throat grabs, they are very similar, whether they're one hand or two. The key thing I want you to get used to here is what it's like to be grabbed from the throat. What I don't want to see is people doing this. Just relax, love. I'm not going to make it uncomfortable. Just relax. Here, a throat grab is uncomfortable. So I will generally come in and grab with my arc hand this way, put my other hand behind the head, get right in and close this way. Really uncomfortable. It's got to be physically uncomfortable. Now you're at home with mum or dad, that's a really cool person to practice with, because even sometimes practicing with somebody at training can be very scary. Okay, so practicing with someone you trust, letting yourself be grabbed and feeling it is very important. Now from here, throat grabs, shoulder grabs are the same. Use 2 hands, love, because you're a bit littler. There we go. From here, same thing, I get my hands up. From here, I can use my open fist for the solar plexus. Sideways or downwards this way is fine. Depending on whether your opponent's arms are closed or open, you should be able to get over the top to do your open fist around this way, or maybe underneath this way. So straight in for the face this way. Okay, and then it's very much the same as the previous lapel grabs were. Okay, so you can push the face in the same way, or at B level, you smash it as hard as you can. Trap them, step side on. All of these have been very, very similar. I step side on and trap, reduce the targets, drop my chin, and then from here, over the top or up underneath. Just be aware that if you touch their arms on the way up, they will feel it and they will instinctively do this. So if their hands are already quite close together, don't go between the arms, go around. Okay? So if their hands are close together, go up and around for the target. From quite close, they can also be quite hard to see. Another little, remember here, torso up, body nice and close. Sorry, just letting someone back in. From here again, torso, and keep this forearm flat. Be careful that you don't do this. I don't want to be in this position where I have my back to my opponent, because that's not a good place for me to be. Okay, keep facing them this way. So you'll notice that what we've done so far, one-handed lapel grab, two-handed lapel and push, two-handed lapel and pull, throat grabs and shoulder grabs, they're all very, very similar. Okay, it's just a matter of experiencing it and doing slightly different targets, attacking in slightly different ways. So just gently work through that. All those principles about using your stances, turn half facing, keep your torso upright. Okay, now the last 2. These are where things get a little bit different. The hair grab, first defense against the hair grab, don't have hair. It's really effective. If you want to keep your hair, then we'll have to learn something else. Okay, so ear grab may be from here, because I don't have hair for my daughter to grab. Remember, she's going to be pulling me down and getting aggressive here. The first thing that I have to do is trap that hand on my head or on my ear, wherever that may be. Now, this is really important, because if I don't trap the hand, they're going to be moving me around and I have no control of where they take me. As soon as I trap my hand on their grip, I can keep my neck straight. And when they try and move me around, I can use my footwork to stay a bit more upright. So it's immediately easier to deal with. So grab and pull me around a bit. Pull me around, pull me around. Okay, so I can move with this a lot more effectively. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, the second thing is I must use my words for this, because chances are, particularly those of you who are lucky enough to have lots of hair, when they grab you by the hair, their fingers get tangled inside your hair. So magic releasing techniques aren't quite so effective. So even if they want to let you go, sometimes it's quite hard to do so. So use your words to say, let go of me, and then give them some encouragement. So from here, let go of me. I use my reverse knife hand and I'll strike on the outside or the inside of the thigh. I might move up to the solar plexus. If I can reach it, I might go for the head, but I'm going, let go of me. And you've got to hit quite firmly. Use that reverse knife hand and strike on the outside of the inside of the leg. If you need to, of course, you can go for the groin, but we just don't do that in class because it's a bit unfriendly. Trap, step in and get close. Step close to them so you can reach. Bang, 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 let go of me. Strong words to show that you're not the aggressor. If you get high enough to the face, you can do that same thing of pushing on the face. Good, I'm seeing some really good work here, guys. Excellent. Got some great partners there too. Arnav, your partner should be in Dobok training as well. It's slacking, I've missed it. Yes, Karen, I'm talking to you. Okay. Now the last one is the bear hug. First thing, just watching this way for a moment. Two options. Option one, my hands can be free. Or option two, my hands can be trapped. Hands free. Give me a couple. There we go. Hands free can feel like a great place to be. And you might be thinking, ha ha ha, why would an idiot grab me like this? A lot of grapplers, this is a great position for them to be in. So you've got to act quickly, okay, if you ever get attacked like this. Try and ground yourself if you can. Remember, from this position, they might try and lift you up, although my daughter's going to struggle with that. And they might try and lift you and throw you sideways on the ground. Remember, the way to get around that is to spread your legs and lift your legs up. So wherever they turn you, you try and get a foot underneath you when you land. As soon as you, once at any time, in fact, from this one with my hands free, I've got my hands, I can get into their face. Okay, high violence situations, I can get thumbs in squishy bits if I need to. I can push. For a low violence situation, I can use my thumb, pop it under the philtrum, this target that we use all the time for our high punches. Put my other hand behind their head and push back behind the philtrum. See that? Nice and effective. It's a very sensitive spot, just under the nose. Well, then I've got to deal with that situation. So stop it, let go of me. And if they don't let go, I know there's a problem. Okay, so again, from the big strong bear hug here. Okay, from here, one hand behind the back of the shoulders, other hand, thumb under the, so it's probably going to be here, thumb into the philtrum, and push back on the philtrum. Okay. High violence, you just get more aggressive with those fingers and stick them in something squishy. Okay. That's it for your other hand behind and go across the nose. Yeah, there we go. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. That one's even effective for little kids or big guys. Now, if your hands are trapped, trap. Okay. Now I don't have access to my hands. I can't go for the head so much, but I can reach a lot of vital spots. Again, here, be careful of being thrown to the ground. Be careful potentially of the headbutt, depending on the height of your opponent. So tuck your chin and turn your head slightly. Be careful of your knee. You have access to your knees, but remember when we kick, you want to keep your foot close to the ground. So don't lift your knee up like an upward kick, because then you're on one leg. That's a dangerous place to be. So I can throw my knee forward. I can use both hands, grab handfuls of the flesh on the side of the body, grab really tightly and twist. Or the inside of the thigh, if it's lower down, or the outside of the thigh, grab and twist. And you can do the same hits you did for the hair grab. You may also be able to get into the floating ribs here if you can reach there. That's a really nice vulnerable space just to dig in. But depending on how much adrenaline is flowing through the aggressor's body, that may be less effective. Okay? So get those hands in, grab stuff, use your words at the same time, and you try and wiggle your way into a position where you can free yourself while you're hitting and gripping. Okay? Hands free. Put your hands in. There we go. Now go. There you go. So not so much for the back, more for the sides. Yeah, there. There we go. That's it. Yeah, I like that, you troll. Yeah, you're all right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there are your 6 techniques for green belt and for blue stripe, of course. Now remember, nice, I'm seeing some excellent work there. When you're working B level, remember to use this 3-step drill. It's a really good way to do it. So I'll demonstrate with my 10-year-old attacker. Choose one of those attacks and go for it. Oh, she's doing this one. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So I'm not going too fast. 4, because the way she turned was very nice for me. Down to the ground. Maybe depending on the level of violence, I might need to give her a little bit of extra effort towards the ground. Disengage from the head, looking for exits, looking for risks. Pat myself down. Look at my hands. Gap it. Then I haven't finished the job. Okay, where you go, spend a few minutes with your partners working on that. If you haven't got a partner, then learning what we've done is enough. Think about what we've done, try and cement them with an imaginary partner. So imagine that lapel grab or the shoulder grab. 1, 2, 3, low kick, hit. Maybe get in an elbow, knee. So think about what you can string together. So if you're working alone, just practice it. If you're working with a partner, take it easy. Good work. Thank you, love. Okay. I managed to dispatch my 10-year-old aggressor. Okay, so remember the hair grabs, the throat grabs. Do practice that because it's scary, but it's not technically hard. Get in with those pulling or the pushing. Nice, Isabel. With the hair grab, remember to trap it and use your other hand so you can control your neck when they're throwing you around. Danilo, from that position, you want to go over the top of his lapel grabs because of your height's similar and his hands are quite close. So when you're going for the face, don't try and go underneath. You'll see he's feeling it and he's trapping you. So go over the top. That's it. Trap his hands, go over the top. That's right. That's better. Nina, you're fighting something very cool because your dad's got longer arms than you. That's where you want to maybe drop back and do that movement where you drop down on his arms and you'll find that he does this. Then you'll find it easier to reach his face rather than trying to. So that's a lesson for a lot of you from the lapel grabs, the throat grabs, those sorts of things. If you can't reach the face, step back and hit the arms first. It brings their face closer to you. Spread your legs, Toby, in case she's trying to throw you on the ground. Sophia, remember to get right in there really quickly with your hands. Grab stuff on the body. And come on, watch this way for a moment. Really nice work. One of the principles that you'll find when your hands are trapped like this, I can't immediately go for a vital spot easily. I might be able to reach the groin if I need it, but there's not a lot of vital spots that are easy to reach with my hands like this. So in that position, particularly at B level, I try to cause pain as much as I can wherever I can reach until I can get to a vital spot. I have my head, so I can headbutt from here. I've got my shoulders sometimes as well. You can actually hit with your shoulders if you need to. I can use, if I'm talking a really bad situation here, I can think about the bite. The bite itself doesn't do much, but you try and make a noise like a dog where you're, ah, this way. Okay, that sort of thing, just enough, because what you want is for your partner to flip, your opponent to flinch. Whoa, I'm dealing with a mad person. When they open up a little bit, now you've got some room to escape and do what you need to do. So a lot of those initial movements are just about getting your opponent to change their position, to open them up so you've got more room to release and more room to counterattack. Where you go. Couple more minutes. Be careful with your parents because you owe them a lot. Just work gently for now.
Sir, my dad's got something to do right now, so I don't have...
Oh, that's okay, Nina. I saw what you were doing before and it was looking fantastic. So just work through by yourself for now, imagining those 6 attacks. So you memorize those 6 attacks and how to deal with them. And then do a little bit more practice another day. And come on. Really good. Okay. Now, there were a couple of you I saw that didn't have a partner, so you were working through imagining how it works. Those guys in particular, try to spend some time on the weekend where you can ask a parent or something to work with you. You've got this video on our website that you can go back to and just watch the section for the tips and stuff. Maybe you might want to watch it together or just do it from memory. Go outside and try different things. Work very slowly and gently initially, because you don't want your parents going, whoa, and then trying to defend themselves against you. Doing it slowly first gives your parents time to learn what's going to happen and then be more comfortable with what you're going to do. Okay. Now, make sure that your attacker is using some real energy as we do in class. You don't want to do a lapel grab and stand here like this because no one does that. It doesn't have to be trying to throttle you and break your neck, but it does have to give you some real movement. So you can do that quite slowly. If I'm trying to move my partner backwards, I'm just doing this. If I'm getting in their face, I'm pulling them in and then moving around and getting in their face. Okay, so just try and use some real energy, but toned down when you're not trying to do any damage. But the movement is very important. Okay, great work, guys. Now let's get on to something else before we finish up, because we don't have a lot of time on that. That's cool. I want everybody to work through their top 3 patterns. Okay, your top 3 patterns, starting with the 3rd one down, then your penultimate one, then your ultimate one. I'm going to do my usual trick. In fact, I'm just going to whack gallery on so that I can throw feedback at people that I see. Okay, so 3rd pattern down. Take your time. Remember our process. If you haven't got enough room, which most of us don't, then do your full stance, full power if you can. Move your physical position, then do the next movement. Okay, 3 patterns down, Jabi. So yellow belts will be doing Sajumaki. Both sides if you're doing one of the 4 direction exercises. Shijo. Think about the purpose of the movement. Feel what you are doing. Ved, 4 direction block, both sides. I'll just Okay, just hold that last movement. Check your stance. If you're in walking stance, make sure it's long and strong. Lock that back leg in your walking stance. If you're in L stance, make sure you've got slightly more weight on the back leg. Take your time, Zach. Make sure you finish each movement. And if you finish, come on, baro. Cool. Take your time. Finish all of your stances. Picture what you're doing in your mind. Okay, so you can go slightly slower than we normally would in the dojang. Get yourself finished in your stances and make sure the movements feel like they're doing their job. Second pattern, your penultimate one. 준비. 시작. Sophie, slightly longer in those stances, looking good. Bella a bit longer as well. Elijah, just watch that L stance body weight, a little bit more on the back leg. And remember to do your high punch, pulling back with your side kick, do your high punch and pull your other hand back to your hip. Looking good. Ollie, remember that bottom hand in your U-shaped block should be fit parallel to the floor, and so should your top hand. You kind of curved in a bit like a C shape. Should be more like the shape of a staple that hasn't gone through paper. Pull that bottom hand close to your elbow close to your body and reach the top hand over so your fingers line up. Keep your wrists and hands straight. Your body, that's better, that's better. Just flatten that bottom hand out a little bit more. Check your fixed stance. Remember, it's just as long as a walking stance, but it's half facing. 50-50 body weight. Okay. And if you finish, come on, baro. Okay, final pattern, last one, 준비. 시작. Cohen, high punches and done good. So eye level punches. Looking good, Dr. Yi. Good, Arno. Just a little bit higher with that X-fist rising block. Dr. Yi, just watch the L stance, the walking stance there. Back fist and L stance, release and walking stance. So you got to shift your foot from one stance to the next. Elijah, just make sure you finish that. It's better finish that walking stance. On the other side, you didn't quite finish it. Diogo, just straighten your arm out there for that knife hand side strike. Keep that arm straight. Where are you up to there, Zach? Are you done? And if you finish, come on, baro. you haven't finished, just continue. Shot. Okay, and now I want to see for the next 4 minutes, I want to see you demonstrate your step sparring. Okay, so yellow stripes, yellow belts. You've got one-way, 3-step sparring with counterattack with your hands. Green stripes, one-way counterattack with your feet using L stances. Green belts and blue stripes, you've got your 2-step. Blue belts and above, you've got your 1-step. Even without a partner, I want you to demonstrate it as if you've got a partner. If you have a taekwondo partner of suitable height with you, great, you can do it with a partner. If you haven't, do it alone. Nice and strong, good power, good stances, good procedure. Away you go. But you don't need if you haven't got a taekwondo partner, you don't need a partner for this, guys. Away you go. Isabel, your mum's awesome. She should never have removed her dobok. Remember your counter-attack, Aiden. Number 1 is the flat fingertip thrust. Very good, Sophie. Looking good, Dr. Yee. Your punch in the attack was just a little bit too low. Your solar plexus height, you were just a bit too low for that. Looks good. If anything, slightly higher. Yeah, that's better. Isabel, just let yourself take a bigger step back with that defense so that you can block it on the forearm rather than up on the biceps. And if you step off on jump off on a slight angle, you'll find that vertical kick easier. The arm won't get in the way. An angle to the open side. Now shift off the angles, open side a little bit. Just take a little step to the open side towards the doors. There we go. Aiden, did we lose Emily? Oh, that's a shame. Good. It was good to see her in Dobok though after her injury. Good, Kate. Just watch the body facing. Sometimes your walking stance is a little bit too narrow. Full facing. That's it. Katie, you yellow belt or green stripe?
Green stripe, sir.
So have you learned your green stripe 3-step sparring?
Yes, it's just L stance, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, so you're attacking, and so your ready position is still a walking stance, forearm low block, but yes, your attacks and defenses are an L stance, and your counter attacks are your kicks.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. Let's see that. Show me that, Kate. Where'd you go? There she is. That's it. Cool.
Sorry, sir. I gotta have dinner.
Thanks, Mackay. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Hope you got something tonight.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
See you next class. And come on. Okay, face your partner if you've got a partner. Chin up. Kill it. And grab a drink of water. I feel like that's something I haven't said enough this session. I apologize if I haven't. Okay. And sitting down, left leg out, right leg over the top. And stretch. So make sure you're taking your time to read through your handbooks. I recommend you take some time on the weekend to practice your self-defense with somebody at home. Outside's a good place to do it. Next week, of course, is pre-grading. Grading will be tricky. I've had a question about exactly how grading is going to work, and it'll kind of really depend on how many people we have grading. What I expect I will have to do is split it up over multiple sessions because I won't be able to do everybody in one night. I'll have to do a little bit more where I can do kind of a 8 people or 10 people or something in one night. So it'll depend on how many people we have grading and what levels. I'll try and split you by level a little bit. And change leg. Saw some good work tonight, guys. Those of you who are blue belts and red stripes, work through your self-defense handbook and think about the way we practice today and the syllabus that you're working with and practice those. One thing that I will just show you before we finish up, the hardest one in your syllabus. Most of it you'll get from the book. And both legs out, stretching forwards. I'm just going to call back one of my little partners to show you something from the blue belt red stripe self-defense syllabus. Okay, so keep your stretch. Now hold your legs wide, go to one side. The hardest one from your self-defense for blue belts and red stripes is the rear choke. And the problem is people not knowing how to put it on. First thing, be very careful when you're learning this. A lot of people will just grab around the neck like this and that's it. And if you've got a weak chokehold, it's rubbish and anyone can get out of it. If you can get out of a good rear naked choke, then you can easily get out of a bad one. The key thing that you're after, and I'm going to do this very gently because otherwise my 10-year-old will freak out. From here, I want to wrap my hand right around the throat so my elbow is pointing the same direction as her chin almost. So straight ahead that way, nice and tight. My other hand comes up underneath, so my hand is on my biceps. And then I pop this hand behind their head. That creates a very small triangle shape for their neck, okay? Then what I'm doing to get the choke on is squeezing my biceps together of this front arm. I squeeze together and you're cutting off the circulation of the blood on both sides of the neck. And that's why they pass out, okay? Now, where people are particularly weak at doing this is particularly when there's a height difference and you see people or same size or taller, and you see people reaching up like this trying to do the choke on. It's terrible stuff. All you do is you use this finger, get that knuckle, and you come up behind your partner. Be careful. Oh, it's all right, be gentle. From here, I put it in the center of your partner's back, start palm down, and then as you wrap your hand around their head, you twist and push forward, and you'll see that they lean backwards. And that brings your partner down to your height, and you get in a comfortable position for the chokehold, and you need to be comfortable. So you make your good strong stance. Notice that I'm in a good strong fixed stance, and from here get into your position, and then you can squeeze. Now, firstly, try this with your partner. Make sure you work with someone very carefully. If you're working with an older brother or sister, okay, change your stretch, do something a little different, maybe your quadriceps. If you're working with an older brother or sister, do make sure that you are not going to be silly with this. If you are silly with it, someone's going to get hurt. If you're working with a parent, then your parents have got a lot more sense on their shoulders and they won't be doing anything stupid. Okay, so parents are good to work with, older brothers or siblings, if they can play nicely, great. So start very, very gently. First, you both want to learn how to put this on, you and your parent. And then from this position, now I have not applied this at all yet. I'm just in the right position. And then once you get in the right position, I want you to gently squeeze. And then when your partner feels it come on, they tap, either you or them. And as soon as you hear it, you release the choke. Okay. So practice putting the chokehold on before you practice releasing from the choke. Okay. Work with somebody you trust. Don't do it with a younger sibling. Do it with a parent or a trustworthy older sibling. Okay. You've got to be very, very careful with this. Once you know how to do it, once you both can do it comfortably, then you can start working with the release from the book. Okay. Now, if you haven't tried to stretch your quads, we're going to do a little stretch of my quads, and then we'll better finish up. Just turn to the left and tidy up. General rotations. So as I say, work through that self-defense stuff on the weekends. Be careful with it. Start slowly with your partner and build up as you are both more comfortable. Thank you very much, everybody. I look forward to seeing you for pre-grading next week. I'll be running my report this weekend to see who's got enough sessions and things. Do a little bit of practice. Make sure you know your fundamental movements. Make sure you know your patterns. Make sure you know your step sparring intimately. You practice your self-defense and those sparring drills we've been working on. Sit up. Come here. Take a while. Huzzah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
If you have got any particular questions, feel free to take an email and send me a link to a video or something.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
guys. Good night.
Oh, so just